Um, Welcome everybody to this first of monthly meetings that we're going to have for our members. And it's a long time coming. I actually was working on a plan for this in January of 2020, and best laid plans, of course. Pandemic kind of took that out, and but on the plus side, it taught us a lot about Zoom and what we can manage through Zoom, and I think got people very comfortable with the idea of having these sort of meetings via Zoom. So Jessica's going to talk in a bit about what we want to have for membership privileges going forward, benefits. I mean, and I'll leave that to her. But I'm excited about what we have going on. I hope you guys can get excited about it too. And I'm also excited to talk a little bit about the future of Broadleaf and hear your thoughts and to get some ideas from you on what we might be able to do to better serve you. First and foremost, I do want to acknowledge a couple of board members that we have amongst us. Elliot Parker and Robert Gwaltney are both serving on the board of directors. And actually, as I'm sitting here, Ann Height is going to join us. And she is as well on the board of directors. And Bill, I'll never be able to not acknowledge Bill Bridges, who was one of the founding members of the board. He's not on the board now, but does still assist us with conference planning. And Bill was one of 5 that helped found Broadleaf as an organization with me back in 2015, which feels a lot less longer away than it actually is. It's hard to believe that it's already been 8 years. But to kind of keep things going here, I'm going to do just a little bit of programming update. As you may or may not be aware, we run a series of programs called Right Now, and we had one recently and have one more coming up with some dude named Jeffrey Dale Lofton, who is sitting amongst us right now. I'm very excited about that. Jeffrey wrote the book Red Clay Susie that's doing very well, and congrats to you on all the success you've had with that. He is going to join us for an in-person event at Eagle Eye Books in Decatur on July the 8th at 2. And very excited about that. We're going to talk about the fictionalized memoir, what to look for in terms of trips and traps that you want to avoid, and also how to take real life events and turn them into story in a way that is engaging for the reader. So very excited about that, and very much looking forward to that conversation with Jeffrey. So please, if you're in the area, join us. Looking forward to that. And of course, the other big program that we have coming up, as we will be adding some more right now, but the 8th annual Broadleaf Writers Conference returns this September. Very grateful to say 100% that it will not be virtual this year. And that's very exciting. And we're going to be at the Decatur Library in Decatur. And it's a great facility. If you've not been there, it's where we started the conference in 2016. And we had our first 3 conferences there. It's intimate, it's comfortable. The facilities are great, and it's wonderful for sitting and chatting and getting to know people and having lunch together and all kinds of stuff. So if you have not already, please do check that out at broadleafwriters.com. We've got a great list of speakers this year, and we're still building our list of agents that will be doing both pitch sessions and mentoring sessions. But we're very excited about it as well. I'm very excited to see everybody in person, that's for sure. So I will return with more in a bit, but for now, I am going to hand the baton over to Jessica Bowers. And for those of you who do not know Jessica, she is the wonderful person that has stepped in from the board and taken over social media, which I'm eternally grateful for. So she's the one that's running the posts that you see out there, and in addition, she's assisting in other ways with marketing and promotion, and trying to teach a person about TikTok that knows nothing about it. And we're very excited to have her on the board. We're very excited to have her running social media and helping with these membership initiatives. And I'm very glad to introduce her to you and hand it over to you to talk about what we're doing with membership going forward.
All right. Well, I'm really, really excited about these changes that we're going to be implementing moving forward. I hope you guys are able to take full advantage of them. One of them is, of course, we're going to start having regular member meetings. This is going to be an opportunity for us to, we're going to have a small program at every meeting, as well as opportunities for member discussion. That's where you guys will get to read a piece of your work if you would like to. And we're going to be doing member announcements. So first things first, these member meetings are going to be happening every fourth Saturday of the month at 1 o'clock, same time every month. We will not be having a member meeting in September because, of course, the conference is happening that month. We also don't want them to be all virtual. I would love to get to see you guys out there in real life world. So to that end, we are going to try to host an in-person meeting once a quarter. Our next meeting will be held July 22nd at 1 p.m. It will be virtual. Our guest speaker at that meeting will be Ann Height. And of course, as Zach mentioned earlier, she's one of our board members. She is also the author of several books, including Paints on Black Mountain, which recently won a bronze award from the Forward Indies for short stories. So she is going to be presenting next month. So be on the lookout for information about that. You will need to register just like we did for this meeting. But of course, non-members are also invited to attend at least one of those meetings, and they can enjoy Ann speaking as well if they did not attend this one. So what do those regular meetings look like? We're going to open up kind of like we did today with Broadleaf business and announcements. Then we'll have 20 minutes for a speaker program. There will be 10 minutes open floor discussion. This is where you guys can talk with the speaker, or the speaker could give us some more information. Then we'll have about 15 minutes for member announcements and readings before we wrap it up. So that's just kind of what you guys can look forward to at each of our regular member meetings. We really, really wanted to craft these in such a way that we not only brought you something fun and interesting to learn about, but we also facilitated connecting as a community. So let's see. Part of those regular meetings, we will be doing giveaways. There will be a giveaway at the end of this one. Zach has a book that he is going to be giving away. So anybody who is present here will go in for a random drawing. And so you could walk away with, and Zach, could you tell us what book that is?
Yeah, I was supposed to mention this before, so my notes did me no good. This is the 10th anniversary edition of Writing Tools, 55 Essential Strategies for Every Writer by Roy Peter Clark. It's one of many books on writing that were recommended by our board of directors.
So that could be one that you win at the end of this. We will have these kind of giveaways for anyone who is in attendance for those member meetings moving forward. If you are interested in being a presenter or speaker at these monthly meetings, or you would like to do a reading of your work during the open floor portion, please just reach out to us. We will have a form that is going to be going out. It'll just be a simple Google form. So when we have the announcement email go out for the meeting itself, there'll be a Google form that you can fill out if you're interested in doing a reading or anything like that. Because we have such a short period of time available, and there could be so many of you with some wonderful things, I really want to make sure that we have an opportunity to use our time as wisely as possible. So we will ask that you fill out that form so that we can schedule you to be one of the people reading, and we will fit as many folks in as we possibly can. The good news is, if you would prefer to do that reading in person, if you can't get squeezed in July, we are going to have another member meeting in August. We're going to try to make that one in person. Plans are still evolving for that, so stay tuned on that one. So in addition to these regular meetings, we're also going to be amping up what we do for you as writers or authors. So for example, we're going to start doing author spotlights. That is, if you are a published author and maybe and you would like to do a little bit of promotional, or would like to talk a little bit about your book, I would like to do an interview with you. We will sit down virtual like this and record it so that we can then also put it on the YouTube channel that Broadleaf has, and it would go on our social media and in our newsletters as well. And that's just one more way for you to kind of talk about your book and what you've got going on. And it's something that you can kind of help boost the signal for whatever you've got. Speaking of boosting the signal, we want to boost your signal. So for those of you who may have book launches or other events going on, anything that is writer related, writer adjacent, let us help you with your marketing for that. And by that, I mean tag us. If you tag us in there, I will get a notification about the post, and then I will make sure to reshare it on our channels as well. So, and tag you. Now, what that does is that is going to increase the algorithm for you. It's going to increase your reach overall, and it will help you reach a broader audience. And that is just one more way that we want to be supporting your efforts as a writer and an author. Now, some of you may not have a social media presence right now, but maybe you want to or need to. We know that it's important to, as writers, as authors, it's vital these days, right? You can't just write in a bubble anymore. So to that end, I would like to make a little bit of a consultation basically available to you. You can get 15 minutes one-on-one once per quarter with me, or 1 hour once a year. I have 13 years of marketing experience with small business entrepreneurs, authors, speakers. So please put this free consultation to use. In order to take advantage of that, you can either reach out to Broadleaf just by responding to the emails, and Zach will connect you with me, or you can directly message any of our social media channels and I'll respond to you there, and we can set up a time. I am here to make sure that you guys have the best platform possible to start off with. That way, when we're helping you boost your posts, you're getting the most bang for your buck. You're getting the most for your effort there. So just to kind of, I know I blew through that quite quickly. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule, but so your new member benefits, as it were, is going to be these new regular meetings, these monthly meetings that we're doing, the author spotlights that are available. Just reach out to me and we'll arrange that. Boosting your posts, tag Broadleaf in your posts and we will help you boost those. And those 15-minute one-on-one consultations once a quarter with me for your marketing efforts. So those are some, and the books and the book giveaways for at the meetings themselves. So these are just a few of the ways that we're trying to increase our support of you as our members and show how much we appreciate you being part of this community. And with that, do you have any questions about specifically these benefits here before I turn it back over to Zach? No, you can also drop it in chat. If you guys think of any questions later on, feel free to jump on our social media and ask them there, or send us an email and we'll be happy to answer them at that time too. With that, well ahead of schedule, Zach.
That's okay. Well, I wanted to, honestly, I blew through the front half of my part just because I wanted to make sure I left plenty of time for this area. So whereas Jessica outlined, in future meetings, we're going to have guest speakers come in, and whether they're part of the organization or not, and talk about various areas of writing and people that you can ask questions about writing and stuff like that. This is a very important conversation, and I wanted to make sure that we left as much time to have it together, because for me, the reason that Broadleaf exists is because I believe very strongly in the importance of a thriving and supportive writing community. And I saw a need for it, and that's how Broadleaf became a thing. Over the years, I've tried to learn and understand how we can best serve the community, and to this point, we've done what we can do with the resources that we have. And then the pandemic happened, and that kind of put a kibosh on any new and exciting plans for a few years. But we're here and ready to really grow our community, and really ready to serve our community in the best way we can. So in addition to wanting to ensure that we had the most benefits possible for your annual membership, I also wanted to make sure that you all knew that we want to be able to serve you and the community in the way that services your needs the best. And in order to do that, that means that we're all in this together. So though you all are responsible for making connections with one another and friendships and critique groups and finding beta readers and, a little bit of therapy as you need it, because we all need that. And then, possibly finding some mentors along the way. That is on you. But at the same time, we want to be able to assist and help you to get there. We want to be able to make the community as strong and supportive as it possibly can be. So in order to do that, I want to be able to hear from you. So this is kind of a give and take. So if you have comments or questions as we go, please just raise a hand, or you can do on the little reactions thing, like raise your hand like I just did. And then Jessica, you can possibly help me monitor that.
And it
And
looks like Carrie already has her hand up, and so does Jan. So
okay, all right. Carrie, why don't you start?
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I'm been a member of Broadleaf for a few years now, I think, but prior to that, I was a member of Georgia Romance Writers. That's kind of my first inlet into a group of professional writers. And so as we're starting to make these changes, some of them sound familiar to format as how Georgia Romance Writers operated as well. My question is, because I have no experience going to any meetings with Atlanta writers, how are we different? Like if I wanted to try to promote membership, how would I pitch us maybe against the other groups? How are we going to remain different?
Well, it's an interesting thing, because one of the things that's been important to me all along is fostering partnerships with other writing organizations. I'm not in any way did I ever want Broadleaf to squash out competition or to completely pull people away from one to another. I think as a writer, you can be a member of multiple writing organizations. You can be involved in writing. In fact, it's probably better for you as a writer to be involved in multiple writing organizations. So I would like to think that, as I hope that this notes, that one of the things that we want to be for our writing community is as much of a co-op as we can be, that everybody has a voice, that everybody's opinion matters, and that we as a group, the organization and all of the writers of the writing community, are trying to move forward to make it the best environment and to service the needs again of the writers within the community as possible. I mean, I'm not in any way trying to single out other organizations that may or may not do it. It's just, that's what I want us to be. And I feel like together that we can actually get there. And I don't know if I just politically got through that answer, or if that actually answered your question.
It did. I mean, I can tell you the main reason that I changed over for myself is because, I write YA, and Georgia Romance Writers for a long time has kind of stepped away from the focus on YA. And so as long as I'm part of an organization that still acknowledges that as a strong genre, one that's worthy of having workshops and programs and things like that, then that's where I will stay. But
and that actually addresses another point that I had, is just I want to be able to let you all know what we're doing and where we're wanting to take things. If you weren't familiar with the YA conference that we had this spring, we did it. We were planning it before the pandemic, but we finally got to it this year. We were doing it because there's such a strong and vibrant YA community in Atlanta and in Georgia beyond the city, that we felt that it was necessary to create something that was just specifically designed for writers of young adult. And it was wonderful and well attended, and everybody was happy, and we want to build on that. We want to make it something bigger, but that is an example of what we can do that I believe that other writing organizations may not be doing, is that we see a need of the writing community and we work to try to facilitate it. And if there are other things like that that pop up, or other suggestions that have something that will help lead us to creating programs for them, then I am game to do it. And I know everybody on the board is as well. one of the other things, and then I know Jesse said somebody else had their hand up too, but the community for me has to be an all-inclusive thing. So not only am I talking about everybody here having a voice, but also in ensuring that we are extending to all communities. So like the YA thing is one that was important to me. And then another one that is important to me that we're actually about to announce our partnership with is Black Writers Weekend, which is August 3rd through 6th. And I think this is the third year they've done it, but we're stepping in to help with programming and to help that community grow and to hopefully bring us all together so that we can be one thriving community. And those kind of things are extremely important to us, that we are seeing where the need is and that we are servicing that need. So just something that kind of follows that up. Who was the second hand?
It was Jan right before, excuse me, if you give me just 1 second though, I would like to also respond to Carrie.
Okay.
For me, last year, I was looking for a group. I was looking for a writers group to join. I was very kind of new to embracing my own writing. I've been ghostwriting for people for 13 years now, 15 years now. So for me, what made Broadleaf like special, why I landed here, was because after dipping my toe into several other groups, this was the one that felt the most encouraging, inclusive, and welcoming. Like I never felt like walking into the Broadleaf crew that there was any kind of gatekeeping. There was no kind of, it was just very, I have never felt more encouraged in my life. I've never had more people just randomly reach out to me and be like, hey, how are you doing on this thing? Hey, did you get that draft done? Oh, where are you at with this? This is great. You're doing awesome. It's that kind of spirit that I wanted. And that's what I found in Broadleaf. So for me, that's what made it different than all the other ones that I kind of checked out very surface level before I found this one. So that's what makes it special for me and what makes it different. Jan, what was your question or comment?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes,
Do I-
ma'am.
Okay, I have my sound on.
Yes, you do.
Okay. I joined Broadleaf because I'm trying to write my first book and I needed a community for the inspiration. And I'm wondering whether or not there's a place where there's a list of the members and of those who are published, a list of their books, so that I can familiarize myself more with the group, especially since I'm coming to the conference in the fall.
I would say that one of the things we had this conversation, I believe, I don't remember if it was me and Jessica or if it was the whole board, I don't remember, but we were talking about a public list of members, and the one hesitation that we have, which would just require, I guess, every individual person to say yay or nay, is creating a public list of names. Not everybody is comfortable with having their name just thrown out on a list. I can understand the trepidation there. I can also understand how that would benefit all members, to be able to see who's on there and to contact people. I almost feel like it might be better for us to have a discussion about creating other lists, whether, it was just strictly here are some published authors that are members that we've confirmed, you want to be on this list. Or other members who have confirmed that they want to find a critique group or looking for beta readers or something to break it down in that way, rather than a great big public list of names and contact. But again, I'm open to discussion on how you all feel about that. So I do want to be able to have ways to group our membership lists off into those kind of areas, as I mentioned, that would help you find people in a specific look if you're looking for something very specific, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Does that help, Jan?
Yeah, I think the idea of groups like published authors who are willing to have their names on a list with their books would be great.
Yeah, and I agree. a message in the chat about having an opt-in, and I guess that's kind of in my non-good wordy way was trying to get to is just, you know, talk about having some type of opt-in for members to be on any particular type of list, whether it's the entire list, which we don't necessarily have to make public. We can have the list and share it as requested, but we can do it that way. Nancy.
Nancy.
Mhm. You're muted. Nancy, you're muted. Yeah, no, you're muted right now. Here, I'll just ask you to unmute. It should prompt you.
All right.
There we go.
All right. I belong to a critique group that I found through Atlanta Writers Club. And what they do is they send out a monthly newsletter, and part of that newsletter is a listing of the critique groups, you know, their subject matter or whatever. And you know, I don't know how that could apply to Broadleaf, but it's the reason I'm still in the Atlanta Writers Club, because I am the contact person for my critique group. So.
Gotcha. Critique groups that's one area that people talk to me a lot about, and how we might help facilitate that. It's difficult because critique groups have such specific needs. Usually, you know, you're talking about sometimes it has to do with specific genres, or you want to just meet in person, or you just want to meet virtually. And I feel like in trying to build out this sort of database of members and various sublists, critique group interest, you know, those interested in critique groups could be an area, or critique groups that exist that are looking for more members. And here's what we do. We could have a little write-up for it. So in that case, you know, the critique group would submit what they're looking for, who they are and what they're looking for. And we can have that on that kind of list. And these are certainly the things that I want to be able to develop, because I feel like everybody has a different experience with critique groups. So I know it's not always bad and not always good. And I think it would help people to be able to have some options, and to be able to try out different groups, and to connect and, you know, grow with one another.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like a bulletin board format. And if you're interested in a critique group and there's not already one that exists, you know, for your genre or whatever, then you can start one, you know, and put your little blurb wherever. Just, you know, just a thought.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
And I find it, my critique group, it took a while to find the members that really, you know, were solid and helpful. But at the moment, it's a very helpful thing.
Okay. Well, good. That is definitely an area that we want to get into. So I thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I want to just, I guess, ask in general, which is I feel like we're kind of already getting into here, is what are the biggest challenges you face as a writer, and how can we help you or others in dealing with that? Yes, Mike.
Unmute. Okay.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, I'll just speak for myself. For me, the networking opportunities are really important. I'm a part of a critique group that I swear I don't know what I would do without them. I mean, they're just they've become some of my best friends. It's a very small group. We meet all day, every other Thursday. We have affectionately named ourselves the nitpickers, because sometimes it seems like we just really get down in the weeds, but it's a great, it's been great for me and for my writing. So personally, I'm maybe not looking for that kind of thing so much as for the opportunity to just network, meet with like-minded people, share ideas. In general, I love the idea of some of the things you're talking about doing, Zach, with the author spotlight and the and things like that. And I think that would be really, that's great. I'm looking forward to that. But the networking for me is really, really important.
Yeah, and it should be. I mean, that's one of the primary reasons, aside from learning and becoming, improving as a writer, is one of the primary reasons you want to be involved in a writing community and get out to programs and be able to connect with one another, because you never know where those connections are going to lead you, or what they may help you with in your writing journey in general, whether it's the actual craft or the business side of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in the whole concept of, and I liked, in Nancy, you phrased it as a bulletin board. I kind of like looking at it that way, and creating opportunities for people to basically post, and we can facilitate that, that you're looking for a critique group, or Mike, maybe you're just looking for people you can talk writing with. Maybe it's like, hey, I just want to have a discussion on writing. Who wants to come have a talk? That kind of thing, to be able to help you all find each other, and to learn and grow and connect, and all of that. So thank you.
And a lot of those things that
Yes.
come about as a result of that networking are in many ways serendipitous. I mean, if it's interacting with people and sharing ideas, things happen that you maybe didn't even plan on them happening.
Right.
I mean, I really believe in that serendipitous experience, but you gotta network, you gotta share in order for those things to happen.
It's true. I mean, I in 25 years of first going to conferences and various writing events, and being parts of other writing communities outside of Atlanta, and then Broadleaf, also lots of bookstore experience as well. I've got so many stories, both from myself and from other people, who you go into something not anticipating that you're going to meet somebody that can help you, or directly influence in a positive way your writing journey. And as I get involved, and then whatever we can do here to help get you guys connected with one another. And I obviously want that to be something that is broader than just strictly membership, but at the same time, we have to start somewhere. And I feel like, it would be great if our members were, connecting with one another a little bit easier. So yeah. Is anybody else anything right now?
Carrie had her hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to add that I think sometimes the benefits and the programs might be impacted by who's published and who's not, who's agented and who's not. I'm not published at all. And I would say my number one struggle is motivation, and I definitely feel more motivated when I'm in person with people than when I have a coach online saying, go get them, write 500 words. It's really easy for me to do anything but that when I'm at home.
Sure.
And I'm a full-time teacher. So, summer's great. I'm digging in this summer, but when the school year starts, it's even harder. So I think it could be beneficial to kind of, if we're going to take an opt-in kind of list, maybe also include on that list, where are you in your publishing journey? Do you write because you just love it and you don't care if you publish ever? Are you just trying to get out there? Because I could definitely see benefits for me in programming on how to write query letters, how to, those kinds of things, because I'm clueless with that.
Right. And that actually kind of leads into, one of the other questions that I had is, first of all, I want to plug it again. If you have not gone to the Broadleaf YouTube channel, and this isn't just a sort of I need subscriptions kind of pitch. This is just seriously, there's with right now alone, there's 40 something programs that are there that you can watch that cover anything from conversations with agents and talking about query letters and pitching and things like that, all the way up to talks on storytelling, and Jessica's on marketing, and various genre conversations as well. So you can browse those. There's some workshops that are there. There's some videos from our virtual conferences. There's so much free content there for you to take advantage of, and that's not a membership thing. That's just everybody. But that in mind, I do want to hear from you on what type of programming. And you don't have to say this in terms of like what you think the writing community needs. What do you need? What kind of content do you need that would help you? Whether it's like Carrie needs an hour-long conversation of somebody being a cheerleader and getting her all fired up so she goes and writes for 3 straight days, whatever it happens to be. Because I've got people who can do that. But what is it that you need as a writer in you think you could benefit from in our programming? Like, I'm very excited about Jeffries. Melanie has her hand up. I see. I'm very excited about Jeffries because we never talked about the fictionalized memoir, and I feel like it will be a fantastic conversation. And though we're in person, I'm going to find a way to record that so that it's something else that we can have up on our YouTube channel. Unless Jeffrey says he just doesn't want his face on YouTube, which I presume we're okay with.
Well, what I could do to help, I'm just excited to be a part of it. Thank you for
Mhm.
asking me.
Yeah, excellent. Melanie, you had your hand up.
Just to expand on what Carrie was talking about, I think that it is important to figure out which members have gone on to publish and who's written a successful query letter and who's in the throes of marketing their books. And I think it is good if we know where each other are.
Yeah, and one of the things
my
that I
dog just started barking.
well, dogs have opinions too. It's not just for cats. But yeah, one of the things that we want to be able to build into these meetings, and it's just servicing one thing in a meeting, but we want to be able to have time for members to talk about their news and to talk about success stories, and for us to be able to build on those stories and include them in member newsletters or the Broadleaf newsletter in general, or to put on social media and things like that, so that you become more and more aware of the success stories and the accomplishments of the members of this organization. And I feel like that's a great starting point, and then we can work to build from there on the way we can do that.
Not only for that reason, but just to be helpful to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, it's my hope that, as our writing community grows and becomes more supportive of one another, it's like somebody posts something about a success they have and tags us, and Jessica's putting it on our thing, and then you're seeing it, and then you're sharing it saying, yay. Like, I will say this, I do not know online anybody that is more rah and supportive than Robert Gwaltney. I mean, that man, you are on everything. I feel like, he shares stuff. He congratulates people. He's constantly sharing news. And I love that. And it's one of the things I love most about Robert, is his willingness to lift other people up as well. And that's what I really want from our community, is to be able to find those stories and to share them, so that when you have yours to share, it's going to get shared too.
As a note, I did drop a link to our YouTube channel in the chat. The recording for this meeting will be in, we'll put that on the channel, but generally speaking, we have already discussed the fact that these member meetings are really meant to be member meetings. So these recordings for these meetings, we will be making them just to have them available like on the back end for us to look at. But the regular meetings will probably not be on the YouTube channel moving forward, just because this is meant to be something more along the lines of for members only kind of thing. Non-members are welcome to attend, but we do ask that they only attend one session before they go ahead and get a membership and become part of the community.
That said, it's also a way, if you want to know what we talked about, if you want to see who our speaker was and listen to what they had to say, we'll have them available to share with members going forward. They just, like as Jessica said, they won't be on the YouTube channel for everybody to get to.
Yep, it'll be private.
So yeah. Anybody have other programming recommendations that you'd like to see us do, or something that you particularly would like to learn? There's no shortage of topics, I can tell you that.
I love the first Broadleaf conference that I went to was the one where you had several YA authors, but it was there was the first page critiques thing.
Mhm.
And I loved that. I took it back to my school. I took it back to my own writing club. The kids really liked it. I don't see that happening all the time, but I think that would be a really cool thing to bring in every once in a while.
Yeah, and I actually, that's one of the things that I want to be able to do, is to use one of our Right Now programs, bring in a few agents or authors. And I've seen another writing organization do it this way, and I'm curious what you all think. Because my thought was to treat it like we do at the conference, where it's a Zoom thing, but we're bringing in agents and authors to sit on the panel, where we're having you all submit ahead of time anonymous first pages, and then they read and just give you their input. So it's very much like we do it at the conference. And so another writing organization that I'm familiar with do it this way. They had somebody come in and do a program on writing a first page and how to hit it right, and how to get the attention of agents and editors. And then the people who attended were invited to submit a first page, and a week later they were able to have one-on-one critiques with each of the people. There was like 4 or 5 different authors or editors, not agents, but authors or editors, that did a one-on-one critique. So what would you enjoy / benefit from more? Would it be the conference approach, where you get to hear all the first pages and hear the feedback and possibly get feedback on your own, and then it's a sort of one and done kind of thing? Or would you prefer to have somebody give an hour-long workshop on a first page, and then have opportunities to submit and meet with somebody for a 10-minute session on your page specifically, just one person?
I see benefits for both,
Mhm.
but many times when I've entered a writing contest or had given something to be critiqued in the past, and you know, I get reminded sometimes by veteran writers, hey, Carrie, don't take it too personally. That's one person's opinion.
Mhm.
So I feel like if I only got one person's in-depth feedback, for me, where I feel like I'm in a really influential place in my writing right now, I might take that one person's view way too heavy, whether or positive or negative. And I don't know. I just feel like I might be able to come to my own decisions about my writing more if I have multiple opinions. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's one of the things that I love most about that format is, I mean, you hit it. This industry is so incredibly subjective. This is why you always hear a no from an agent doesn't mean no, it's not good. I mean, it just means no, not here. But to be able to hear, we usually have 4 agents on the panel for that, and to hear the varying opinions on each of these pages, to me, is, I think, a great benefit to you as a writer, because you get to see it in action. You see how there can be such a difference between even 2 agents who represent the same type of work having an entirely different opinion on a first page. It's one of the reasons that I think that's such a benefit.
I want to add to that I think there's a lot of benefit in hearing other people's first pages and hearing the response to those pages as well as to my own.
Mhm.
I got a lot of benefit out of that from the last virtual conference that I attended. And so I really like that approach.
If you haven't been to one of our conferences, or to a conference that does a first page critique, they're fabulous. I highly recommend, even if that's the only reason you went. I would say I highly recommend it, because Jan's right. Hearing everybody's pages as well it does help you understand what other people are doing and what's working and what isn't. And also, usually we get through about, I want to say like 14 or 15 of these in a first page session. And there are often things you're going to hear, 8, 10, 12 times from these agents, and it's a very consistent message. And that in turn also helps. So
Yeah, that can add validation to what's being said.
mhm.
You have 5 people telling you, ooh, you're doing a whole lot of, telling versus showing, then
Mhm.
that's something you need to work on.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeffrey, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on the conversation about the agents. I think that it's, getting an agent, getting the right agent there's more of an art to it than a science, but I know it's difficult because I've been there to be told no, 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 and to take the advice of, a very few people. I think knowing yourself and knowing your writing is really the key to it, and it's a numbers game. And so talking to as many folks about your work and, coming up with your own opinion is really important. And programs like this, conferences like yours, and there is a great way to connect. And also social media I find that people are so eager to, have at least a conversation, to offer some advice. And so the more agents you can connect with, it may not mean that they will represent you, but I've gotten some really good advice, and which has helped me to know myself better and my writing better, and realizing that their opinion does not shape how I value myself and my work. It really is a numbers game. It only takes one yes, and there are a lot of agents out there. So just that helped me to hold on to that. I mean, I was told that it's easier to get elected to the United States Congress than it is to get a literary agent, and I started to believe it at one point. But it can absolutely happen.
Yeah.
Well, we just have a
Lost my
few
screen.
minutes left. If we had just a couple other questions, Zach, or we're ready to do the
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I want to, I know we're running to, but one thing great about being me is that if we have a 2:00 end time, I can say, but I don't want to keep you guys here any longer than you want to be here. But I also, in this whole conversation about everybody working together, I do also want to let you all know, or make a pitch, whichever it happens to be, that if you want to be part of the solution, if you want to be part of helping us make a better writing community, we are always welcoming people to join us, whether that happens to be through volunteering at programs, whether it happens to be on any committees that we have for specific programs like the conference or YATL con that we did, or anything that comes up afterward, or even joining the board of directors. I love the group that we have with our board of directors right now. It's what, 9 or 10 folks that are passionate about the cause, and are anywhere from, still at the early stages of the writing career to pretty well published. And it's such a diverse perspective that we have, and we're always looking for more voices and more people who are willing to join us and help make things great for the writing community that we have. So if that's something that interests you on any level of helping us shape the future of the organization and the writing community, I'm easy to reach. Jessica said, talking about reaching on social media. If you're connected with me, if you're not connected with me on social media, please do. I'm an open book there in public for everybody. Or you can just email me at zach@broadleafwriters.com. ZACH. It's easy way to contact us either way, and we can have conversation about what your interest level is. But that's an open door. We always want to be able to grow there. So please do. Is there a place? Let me say States with. There's a place on the website that says join us, and it does actually have a few things in there that I just mentioned that might break it down. If I need to go back and look at it, it's been a while since I've updated it. So I will see if there's something on there. I don't want to do that while I'm trying to talk to you all. I'll see if it's updated, and if not, I'll update it. But definitely on the website there's an area that says join us, and it breaks down to like become a member or to join the board or something like that. And I'll make sure that that's all up to date. But it's a good way to get a feel for what we're looking for, and what you might actually be able to expect if you were interested in joining the board. But yeah, so I feel like an hour always goes by so fast. So sorry if we're at the tail end of this, but let's give something away. So like I said, the book that we're doing is the 10th Anniversary Writing Tools, 55 Essential Strategies for Every Writer by Roy Peter Clark. And while Jessica was talking, I did the drawing. And I just want to make sure that I emphasize that I did the drawing while Jessica was talking, not while all the questions were being asked, because Carrie won. And it's not because she talked the most. It is because she won. Random drawing. Yay, Carrie. Carrie, I have your contact, so I'll reach out to you and get information to send this to you and mail it via the most expedient way possible. So
Yay.
you're welcome. I haven't read this one, but I've heard very good things about it. So yeah, so I look forward to hearing what you have to say. So yeah, before I get into the kind of farewell, I do want to ask, is there anybody that has any news to share? Anything that you'd like to share about recent successes, or it could be anything from I sat my butt in the chair and actually wrote to my word count to, I'll volunteer Robert here because Robert was just honored with something, weren't you, Robert?
I was so very fortunate and surprised to be named Georgia Author of the Year for a first novel this past week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything that they want to share?
I'll share.
Okay, Melanie, go ahead.
I just submitted my sequel to my middle grade that's already out. So finished my sequel, and the publisher asked for one, and we'll see how that goes. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I'm super excited about it.
Excellent. And this is not at all a nerve-wracking part of the process where you're waiting to hear back from them.
It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Right. Anyone else?
I feel like I'm there with Carrie, and that I've written a lot for other people, and I'm just now starting to write under my own ideas, under my own name. So I'm gonna say I finally sat my butt down and reworked an entire chapter for out of my book that I was resisting doing, and I just went ahead and sat down and did it. I ripped it apart and I put it back together again.
Yeah.
It's hard though, isn't it?
It is. Like one of the hardest things. I mean, for me personally, one of my favorite things, and also one of the most difficult things, is the editing process. And it's like, I love being able to fill out a story with detail and all kinds of stuff. But I also hate the part where I realize, no, this needs to be written, or this needs an entirely new scene, or in one case here recently, like, nope, this needs an entirely new book. Just push it aside and start over, which is always fun. But yeah, I mean, it's like one of the things that, since you bring this up, like one of the things that it's very conference related, but I always tell people that I love about being at a conference is being able to walk in the door and be in a room full of people who share and understand your journey. They know your successes, and they know your failures, and they know how how you deal with it. They know that it's a very solitary thing to sit down and pull magical little people and worlds out of a brain and put it into words. And that's why, like, things like this and things like being at a conference are so incredibly important, because you can feel very, very alone and isolated in doing this. And I don't want that for you. And I want you to not want that for you either. So yeah, definitely get involved. And as we start to build out things for the meetings going forward, and for our programs going forward, I definitely want to be able to do that. And I was just reminded as things are bouncing, Jeffrey, hold on here, that I do also want to mention on behalf of Ann Height that she was named finalist for Georgia Author of the Year in essays. So congrats, Ann.
So
All
you guys
right.
be on the lookout for the announcements and the invitations to the July meeting. Once again, that will be July 22nd at 1 p.m. and Ann Height will be our guest speaker then. Be on the lookout for those so you can sign up. And if you would like to sign up for to read anything or give us a sampling of your writing or anything like that during the open floor portion, there will be a form to fill out for that. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. Aaron, was that a comment on a program you'd like for us to do? Or was that, I'm sorry.
No,
I saw-
Carrie had said in chat, can we all share what we write, what genre?
Oh, sorry, I missed
So
that
folks
part
were
because I
dropping genre.
got it. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I totally missed that because I don't know, I was yammering. All right, so I just wanted to make sure.
So folks
All
are
right.
just dropping their genre in the chat.
Well, what I'm going to do is I like to pretend if we were in person, we wouldn't all just like adjourn the meeting and then boom, we're all gone. I'm not going to just like close this off as soon as I say farewell here. So if you want to hang around the chat for a bit, we can kind of still chat. But I do want to bring this meeting to a close with a reminder that if you're in the area and can join us for Jeffrey Dale Lofton at Eagle Eye Books on July 8th. We would love to be able to see you there. We'd love to be able to introduce you to Jeffrey in person and introduce you to his wonderful book. And he will be there to actually talk some about it and to sign it. And you can support an independent bookstore at the same time, which is always an awesome thing. But we definitely hope to see you there. And if not, then we definitely hope to see you on here on July 22nd. So thank you all for coming out. Know that my door always has the open sign on it. So if something comes to you after we've closed out here and you think of something else that you wish you had mentioned in relation to what we can do going forward, or you want to be involved or anything to that effect, please do reach out to me through either social media channels or Zach at broadleafwriters.com. And I would love to be able to continue the conversation. So otherwise, I'll call this meeting to an end and wish you all the best in your writing. And I look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Thank you.
Have a great Saturday. Good luck
Bye.
with your
Bye.
yard work, Carrie.